Hello student, welcome back to our MSc First Physics semester 2nd course, that is Atoms and Molecules, and our subject code is PSCT 122, and this is our fourth lecture. In our previous lecture we have discussed about the hyperfine structure of the ESR spectra, that means how we get the different lines in a ESR spectra. All those things we have studied in our previous lecture. Also we have studied how we get the two peaks in the ESR spectra in a hydrogen atom. If we consider only the spectra of the hydrogen atom without hyperfine splitting, then we get only one peak. But if we consider the hyperfine structure, then we get the two peaks. That means in a presence of external field we get only one peak, but if we consider the field, that is a localized field produced by the proton which is present in the nucleus, and this field is experienced by the electron, and due to this localized field we get the hyperfine structure. So all those things we have covered in our previous video. Now in this video we have to discuss about the Hamiltonian of the ESR spectra. So let's start the Hamiltonian of the ESR spectra, that is a total Hamiltonian. The electron in a system under investigation may or may not be completely free. If we consider atom, we know that in an atom at the center there is a proton and neutron, and around that there are the different electrons, or simply if we consider the single electron system, then we have one electron in the orbit or in the shell. So if we consider the electron system under investigation, this electron may or may not be completely free. That means if it is free, then that is okay, but if it is not free, then we have to consider the different interaction through which that electron goes. If it is located in an atom or molecule or crystalline environment, number of interaction exists in addition to the one between electron spin and external magnetic field. These will also contribute to the total Hamiltonian of the system. That means if we consider an atom, and if we place that atom in an external field, that means if we consider the atom which is placed in external magnetic field, and due to this external magnetic field the atoms get splitted into, or directly we can say the electron levels get splitted into different levels. So we have the different interactions. So here if we consider the atom or molecule or crystalline environment, number of interaction exist in addition to the one between electron spin. That means the number of interaction, one of them is the interaction between the electron spin and external magnetic field. So here we get one interaction, but similarly we have the another interactions. This will also contribute to the total Hamiltonian of the system. That means if we consider an electron in an atom, and if we place that electron in a presence of external magnetic field, then we get the different interaction, and due to that all those different interaction we get the energies which are in different types, and if we add all those energies, then we get the total Hamiltonian for the ESR spectra. So we have to discuss one by one. So we shall discuss about them one by one. So first one is the electron kinetic energy. Similarly we have the other energies like internal potential energy. Next one is the crystal potential energy. After that electron Zeeman energy, nuclear Zeeman energy. Next one is the nuclear electron spin coupling. After that we have the other interaction. That means if we consider all those interaction, but still we have the other interaction, so they also contribute to the total Hamiltonian of our ESR spectra. So Let's start with the first kind of energy, that is electron kinetic energy. We know that if we consider a single electron, then if electron is moving, then obviously it has a kinetic energy. But in terms of classical, we have the kinetic energy, that is a half mv square, or we can write p square by twice m. But according to quantum mechanically, the kinetic energy will be different, that means in terms of h bar. So the kinetic energy terms is due to motion of the electron, which is represented by minus h cross square by twice m into del square. This is the electron kinetic energy. Why the electron possesses this energy? Because the motion of the electron, it must have a kinetic energy, and this is equal to minus h cross square by twice m del square, and this is in a quantum mechanics. Now second type of energy is the internal potential energy. This is the potential energy of the electron under consideration in the field of all other electrons and nuclei in the atoms, ions or molecule, which is usually denoted by V0. If we consider the atom, ions or molecules, they get interacted with the field, that is the external field, then we have the internal potential energy for all those electron which are present in a surrounding of the electron which is under consideration. That means this is the potential energy of the electron under consideration. That means if we consider a particular electron and in the field of another electrons or nuclei or atoms or molecules, and due to that interaction we get the some internal energy, and which is denoted by V0. So this is also contribute to the our total Hamiltonian. Now the third type of energy is the crystal potential. If the atom or molecule or ion under consideration is located in a crystalline environment, the electrostatic potential due to all charges surrounding the species of interest has to be considered. Suppose if our electron or molecule or atom present in a crystalline environment or located in a crystalline environment. Crystalline environment means in a crystalline environment we have the regular and periodic arrangement. That means everything is fixed at a particular position or after periodic time or periodic position. So we can consider their electrostatic potential. So if we consider the crystalline environment of the particular electron which is under consideration, then we get the electrostatic potential due to all charges surrounding the species. That means if we consider that electron in a crystalline potential, this electron experiences the electrostatic potential due to other charges, that means due to other electrons. So due to this interaction we get the crystal potential, and all this happen in the presence of crystal environment. So it is called as a crystal potential. This potential denoted by V crystal will have considerable effect on the spectrum depending on its strength in a comparison to the other contribution. That means if we consider the crystal potential, it affects the ESR spectra and it is denoted by V crystal. So due to the effect of the crystal potential on the ESR spectra, it is a very important factor in a total Hamiltonian term as compared to the other contribution. It directly affects the spectra of the or ESR spectra. So it is an important term in the total Hamiltonian. Now the splitting of the energy levels due to this potential is the line structure splitting. That means there is a splitting in the energy level due to this potential, and this splitting is known as the structure splitting. This contribution is almost zero in case of free radicals in the solution. If we consider a particular solution, or if we take example of solution, in the solution there are free radicals, and in that case we get this contribution is almost zero. That means the internal energy, the crystalline potential is 0 in case of free radicals in a solution. However, it is quite appreciable in paramagnetic salts such as transition metal ions and rare earth elements, but it is a non-zero in the other cases like the paramagnetic salt. In a paramagnetic salts, also in a transition metal ions and also in rare earth elements, the crystal potential has a non-zero value. But if we consider solution with the free radicals, then it almost equal to 0. But it is important, but it contribute in a Hamiltonian or in a total Hamiltonian of the ESR spectra. So this is a very important interaction which contribute to the energy. Electron, next one is the electron Zeeman energy. We know that what is the Zeeman effect. If we place atom or molecule or ions in a presence of external strong magnetic field, then there is a splitting of the energy level, and this effect or this phenomena is known as a Zeeman effect. So here we get the electron Zeeman energy. That means if we place electron in a presence of external magnetic field, then there is an interaction between the electron spin and the external magnetic field, and due to this interaction we get the one type of energy, and this energy is known as the electron Zeeman energy. So this represents the direct interaction between the electron spin, magnetic moment mu s and external magnetic field B, and which is given by HSB is equal to minus mu s dot with B is equal to G mu B, and the dot product of the S and B. So this is the electron Zeeman energy. As already we mentioned, the electron Zeeman energy is the energy due to interaction between the electron spin and magnetic moment mu s. That means the magnetic moment due to the electron spin and the external magnetic field. So these three quantities or these three terms gets interact with each other, and we get the one type of energy, and this is the electron Zeeman energy, and which is denoted by HSB. That means H for the energy, S for the electron spin, B for the external magnetic field, and which is equal to minus mu s dot with B. That means the dot product of the magnetic moment mu s and the magnetic field, which is the external magnetic field, and with the negative sign because this is the interaction energy, and we know that the charge on the electron is a negative, which is equal to G mu B into dot product of S and B, where G is the Landesi factor, mu B is the Bohr magneton, and S is the spin magnetic quantum number, and B is the external magnetic field. So here the value of the mu s can be replaced by this quantity, that is G mu B and S. So this is the expression or mathematical representation of electron Zeeman energy, and this also contribute to our total Hamiltonian. Now the next type of energy is the, that is a fifth one, nuclear Zeeman energy. This is the interaction energy of magnetic moment of the nucleus with the external magnetic field. That means as already we consider the electron Zeeman energy, that means only we consider the interaction between the electron spin and external magnetic field, but in this case in a nuclear Zeeman energy, here we have to consider the magnetic moment of the nucleus and the external magnetic field. This is related to the nucleus and previous one is related to the electron. So here we have to consider the nuclear magnetic moment. For a single nucleus having spin I, it is given by HIB is equal to minus mu I dot with B is equal to minus Gn into mu n into dot product of I with B. That means if we consider only single electrons and only single nucleus and which have spin, that is a capital I, as already we mentioned as already we denoted for the nuclear spin by the letter, that is a capital I. And if we consider only single nucleus and which interact with the external magnetic field, then we have the interaction energy, that is HIB, where H for the energy, I for the nuclear interaction, that is a nuclear spin, and B for the external magnetic field, which is equal to negative of dot product of mu I with the B, where mu I is the nuclear magnetic moment and B is the external magnetic field, which is equal to minus Gn mu n into dot product of I with B. That means where Gn is the nuclear G factor and mu n is the nuclear magneton, like a Bohr magneton, there is a nuclear magneton. I is the nuclear spin quantum number and B is the external applied field, that is a magnetic field. So this is the interaction energy due to the nuclear spin or nuclear magnetic moment with the external magnetic field, and this also contribute to our total Hamiltonian. Now the next type of energy, that is a sixth one, is the nuclear electron spin coupling. That means there is a coupling between the nuclear spin and the electron spin, and due to this coupling we get the energy, and this energy also contribute to total Hamiltonian of the ESR spectra. Interaction of the unpaired electron with the magnetic moments of the nuclei within its orbital gives rise to two additional terms, the nuclear electron spin coupling, and the second one is the Fermi contact term. That is, if we consider the interaction between the nuclear spin and the electron spin, or simply we can say that the interaction between the unpaired electron and magnetic moments of the nuclei, due to this we get the two phenomena or two terms. The first one is the nuclear electron spin coupling and second one is the Fermi contact term. That means the nuclear electron spin is just the interaction between the nuclear and electron spin, and they get coupled with each other and we get the interaction, and due to this interaction we get the energy, and second one is the Fermi contact term. This is the quantum mechanical term, that means it contribute to our Hamiltonian in terms of quantum mechanical energy. The splitting of the spectra observed due to this called the hyperfine structure. That means due to this coupling we get the splitting of the spectra, and this splitting of the spectra is called as the hyperfine structure. The nuclear electron coupling is direct dipole-dipole interaction between the electron and nuclear magnetic moments. That means if we consider the dipole-dipole interaction, that means this is a nuclear electron coupling and which gives rise directly the dipole-dipole interaction between the electron and nuclear magnetic moments. That means instead of the nuclear and electron spin we consider the electron and nuclear magnetic moments, and these two moments gives us the dipole-dipole interaction, and we know that these two moments acts as a dipoles, and the distance between two dipoles is a finite distance, and if we draw the straight line between these two dipoles we get some distance, and on this the interaction term is a depend. So as this is in action depends upon the angle between the magnetic field and the line joining the two dipoles, it is directional and is referred to as anisotropic interaction. That means all this action, that means the dipole-dipole interaction between the nuclear magnetic moments and electron magnetic moment is depend on the angle between the magnetic field and the line joining between the two dipoles. That means if we consider the particular angle theta, suppose theta is the angle between the magnetic field and the line joining between the two dipoles. So on that there is a dependence of the dipole-dipole interaction, and it is a directional and is referred to as a anisotropic interaction. First of all, what do you mean by the anisotropic? Anisotropic means the, in physics, if we consider a particular quantity and if we measure this quantity in a different direction along a particular axis, then we get the different values for that quantity, then we call this quantity is a anisotropic in nature. Similarly here we consider the interaction between the between the electron and nuclear magnetic moments, and this is the anisotropic interaction. That means if we consider this interaction at different directions or along the different axes, then this interaction has different values, or we get the different energies corresponding to that interaction. So this interaction is referred as a anisotropic interaction. Its magnitude is proportional to 1 by r cube, where r is the distance between the dipoles. That means this interaction magnitude is directly proportional to 1 by r cube, and where r is the distance between the two dipoles, that is a electron and nuclear magnetic dipoles. For free radicals in a solution, since the radical with respect to the magnetic field changes rapidly, this interaction averages to 0, and the hyperfine structure observed then is from the other mechanism. That means if we consider a free radical solution, and in a free radical solution, due to free radicals there is a orientation in different direction, and if we take average of this different orientation, then we get the 0. Therefore the hyperfine structure observed in this case is 0, or there is no hyperfine structure, but still in ESR spectra we get the hyperfine structure, and this hyperfine structure is observed due to other mechanisms. Now the dipole-dipole interaction is given by, that means the interaction between the nuclear magnetic moment and spin magnetic moment is given by, that is a dipole-dipole interaction, H dipole is equal to G into Gn into mu b into mu n, with the S dot with I divided by r cube minus 3 times S dot with r into I dot with r divided by r raised to 5. So here the dipole-dipole interaction, and due to dipole-dipole interaction we get the energy, and this energy is denoted by H dipole, and which is equal to G into Gn into mu b into mu n, where G is again Landéje factor due to spin, and the another Landéje factor, that is a Gn, and which is a nuclear Landéje factor. Mu b is the Bohr magneton, mu n is the nuclear magneton, and this is, or this quantity multiplied by the second quantity, that is the dot product of the spin quantum number with the nuclear spin quantum number, divided by r cube, where r is the distance between the dipoles, and minus 3 times the dot product of the spin quantum number and the dipole distance between the dipoles, and again this product with the spin nuclear spin quantum number with the dipole distance, and divided by r raised to 5. So this is the expression for the interaction energy due to the nuclear and spin magnetic moments, or simply we call it as a dipole-dipole interaction. So this also contribute to our total Hamiltonian, and we get the total Hamiltonian after adding all those energies. The second electron nuclear interaction is the Fermi contact interaction, which has no classical analogues. As already mentioned, in a nuclear electron spin coupling we have the two main parts or two main terms. That is, first is the nuclear electron spin coupling. That means due to nuclear electron spin coupling we get the dipole-dipole interaction and we get this energy. But the second term is the Fermi contact term, and due to Fermi contact term again we get the energy, but as already we mentioned, the Fermi contact term is the quantum mechanical term, so it has no classical analog. So this represents the interaction between the nuclear moment and the magnetic field produced by the electron spin at the nucleus. That means this interaction represent the interaction between the nuclear moment and the magnetic field produced by the electron spin at the nucleus. That means if we consider an electron has a spinning motion. Due to its spinning motion, it has a magnetic moment and we get the magnetic field. So the interaction between the nuclear magnetic moment, that means we know that nucleus has some moment due to spinning motion, that is a nuclear magnetic moment, and the field, but which field? The field produced by the electron spin at the nucleus. That means due to spinning of the electron, there is a generation of the magnetic field at the nucleus, and the interaction between these two is nothing but the Fermi contact interaction. This depends on the finite unpaired electron density at the nucleus, which is possible when it occupies an s orbitals. As p, d, f orbitals have node at the nucleus, the corresponding electron densities are 0. Here the quantum mechanical terms. So here we have to consider a particular wave function. So again we have to consider some density in terms of electron density, because here we are consider only electron and other interaction or other field, and which is the magnetic field, and this depends on the finite unpaired electron density. That means the interaction depends on the finite electron density at the nucleus. That means there is a electron density and which is a due to unpaired electron and which is a finite at the nucleus, which is a possible when it occurs an s orbitals. That means this is possible only when there is a electron is in the s orbital. If it is in p, d, f orbitals, but for the p, d, f orbitals we have node at the nucleus, therefore their corresponding electron density are 0. So there is no contribution due to the electron which is present in the p, d, f orbitals. So the interaction energy is 0, but only the unpaired electron which is present in the s orbital which contribute to this interaction, and that is indirectly to the total Hamiltonian. The interaction is independently of orientation and is given by, that means this interaction is independent on orientation. It does not depend on the orientation of the spin, but it depends on the unpaired electron density at the nucleus, and which is given by HF is equal to 8 pi upon 3 G Gn mu B mu n into the mod of psi of 0 square into S and I, which is equal to A into Si. That means where the interaction energy is denoted by HF due to Fermi contact, that is for the Fermi contact there is a F, and which is denoted by HF, which is equal to 8 pi upon 3, where G is again Landé's factor for the spin motion, and Gn is the nuclear Landé's factor for the nuclear motion, and mu B is again Bohr magneton, mu n is again nuclear magneton, but psi of 0 is the wave function, and the mod of psi of 0 square is the finite unpaired electron density, and again into S and I, where S is again spin quantum number and I is the nuclear spin quantum number, and which is equal to A into S into I, where A is this term, that is 8 pi upon 3 into G into Gn into mu B into mu n into psi of 0 mod square. This is the A, and which is the hyperfine splitting constant. So we can write like this. where psi of 0 is the electron wave function at the center of the nucleus. That means for the electron we have to consider the wave function. So this is the electron wave function, because we are studied this in quantum mechanics, and A is the hyperfine splitting constant, and which is given by, that is A is equal to 8 pi upon 3 G into Gn into mu B into mu n into mod of psi of 0 square. Since Fermi contact terms involve only s electrons, the hyperfine splitting constant is isotropic. We know that the s orbital, that is the s orbital for the atom, that is there are different orbitals, that is s, p, d, f, and they have different shapes. S orbital has a spherical shape, and the electrons, that is unpaired electron which are present in the s orbital, these electrons contribute only in a Fermi contact energy term or in the Fermi contact interaction, but due to this property, that means due to s unpaired electron contribution, the hyperfine splitting constant is a isotropic. Isotropic means if we consider particular quantity and we measure this quantity in a different direction, but still we get the same value at a different direction. So the hyperfine splitting constant is a isotropic, means what? If we measure the hyperfine splitting constant at a different direction, then we get the same value. So this is in isotropic in nature. Now the next contribution to total Hamiltonian is due to other interaction. That means up to this we have considered different interaction or different energies which contribute to our Hamiltonian, but other than that we have some interaction. So seventh one is the other interactions. Some of the other interaction which are of interest in a crystalline paramagnetic systems are electron spin orbit coupling, nuclear magnetic electron orbital coupling, electron orbital magnetic field coupling, nuclear electric quadrupole energies. These all are the other interaction. That means first one is the electron spin orbit coupling. That means there is a coupling between electron spin and electron orbit. So due to this coupling we get some kind of interaction, and this interaction contribute to our Hamiltonian. Another one is the nuclear moment and electron orbital coupling. That means there is a coupling between the nuclear moment and electron orbital. That means the electron which is present in a particular orbital, and this electron orbital couples with the nuclear moment, and this coupling also gives us different kind of energy, and this energy again contribute to our Hamiltonian. Next one is the electron orbital magnetic field coupling. That means if we provide the external magnetic field and there is an electron orbital, so the coupling between these two also gives us the different kind of energy. Last one is the nuclear electric quadrupole energy. We know that nucleus must possess the nuclear quadrupole moment, and due to the nuclear electric quadrupole moment we get the one type of energy, and this is the nuclear electric quadrupole energy. The last is of significance only for nuclei with I is greater than I by 2. That means the last energy term, that is the last interaction, that is a nuclear electric quadrupole energy, is a significance. That means it is a useful when and when we have the nuclei with a spin, that is a spin I which is a greater than I by 2. Then and then this term contribute to our Hamiltonian. So this is the condition for the nuclei for the nuclear electric quadrupole energy. As we will concern mainly with the systems where in electron spin pairs with a proton, that is I is equal to I by 2, it is not significance. That is if we consider the electron spin and which pairs with the proton, that is for I is equal to I by 2, then this energy term or this interaction term, that is a nuclear electric quadrupole energy term, is not significant. That means it is not useful. That means it does not contribute to our total Hamiltonian. The total Hamiltonian is a sum of all these contribution. That means as up to this we have considered different contribution, that is first one is the electron kinetic energy, second one is the internal potential energy, next one is the crystal potential, after that there is a electron Zeeman energy, and after that there is a nuclear Zeeman energy. Then next one is, that is sixth one is the nuclear electron spin coupling, seventh one is the another interaction, that is the interaction involves all those four interaction. So all those interaction, and due to all those interaction we get the energies, and if we add all those energies then we get the total Hamiltonian for the ESR spectra. However, less significant contribution can be left out depending on the system of interest. That means up to this we have considered different interaction, but out of that the less significant contribution can be left, and these are the neglected due to very less significant, and depending on our, this is all depend on our system of interest. That means where we consider the system or which type of system is considered, depending on that our Hamiltonian is also depend. But in this video we have covered the maximum interaction energy which contribute to the total Hamiltonian of the ESR spectra. So this is all about the total Hamiltonian of the ESR spectra for the electron spin resonance spectroscopy. Now in our next video we have to start with the new topic, that is the NMR, that is a nuclear magnetic resonance spectroscopy. Up to this we have covered all topics which comes under the electron spin resonance spectroscopy. That means here we have covered the ESR spectroscopy. Now in our next video we have to discuss about the NMR, that is a nuclear magnetic resonance spectroscopy. So in our next video we will continue with the NMR.